We wanted to take a little extra time and kind of expand Motherhood Monday to talk about this vote in the middle of the night by legislative Republicans to kill Governor Evers' proposal to extend the Childcare Counts program. Kate, should we start with you and the importance of, no, let me do it this way instead. Instead of just saying, tell us about the importance of childcare counts. We know this already. I'd actually like you to respond to something that the blog or social media account Wisconsin Right Now had to say. And it was something along the lines of, liberals are upset because we don't want to spend millions of dollars to write checks to daycare centers during the pandemic. The pandemic is over. Move on to things that, how did they go? Time to stand on your own 2 feet or something like that. That was the message to daycare center operators, that stand on your own 2 feet. I can't imagine that's really what we want to think Republican legislators are thinking, but maybe they are.
It feels like they are. I mean, it's hard not to feel like, especially as a parent and a woman in this state, that like the blows just keep coming from this Republican-led state legislature. Yes, I mean, even though the health emergency of the pandemic is over, people are still reeling from the pandemic. They're still struggling. They're still trying to find their way. It wreaked havoc for a lot of people, whether it was in terms of health or in terms of job, in terms of finances. And what that extra funding did was throw a lifeline to some people and daycares and people in this profession that people realized was so desperately needed. And it is so expensive to get childcare in this day and age. And I only have one child in daycare. And it's even harder to like find a spot, find a slot, figure it out. So for them to just say, just figure it out, it feels like they're always just saying, just figure it out. And it feels really unfair because there's this thing that they put forth that really helped a lot of people, not only parents and families, but it helped give daycare workers who work so hard. I see their faces at the end of the day when I go pick up my child. It helped them get higher salaries as well. And everybody wins when this is in place more. And I think Senator Calderoy said, the childcare industry is the industry that makes all other industries possible. People need reliable childcare for their kids to be able to work and contribute to the economy. And domino effect, domino effect, domino effect. So for them to just say, figure it out, it doesn't feel great.
No, it does not. And Emily, I would imagine you have similar thoughts after talking to, childcare providers and parents as well.
Yeah, I mean, I work with a lot of young people, and I find myself when they tell me they're expecting a baby, jumping from congratulating them to being like, "Are you on a wait list yet?" We live in a childcare desert in most of the state, and during the pandemic, for every one man that left the workforce, 4 women left, and they left because there was not good childcare options, and that has not gotten better. So the pandemic might be over, as they say, but this very significant issue in our state is not. And, I can tell you, I have had friends who have gone the day they find out they're pregnant to get on lists. And here in Dane County, where we have so many young families, they are often having to ask employers to give them longer leaves, patchwork together care. And I'm not talking about for a week or two. I'm talking about for months until their kids can get into care. As I mentioned earlier, I have a 5-year-old and we don't have childcare for her next school year. I logged in at 4:00 the day that the registration came out, got all my documentation, everything ready. I was more prepared than someone trying to get Taylor Swift tickets. And she is on every wait list and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I have the privilege of I can go and I can, hire a nanny or do something like that, but it shouldn't be that difficult. And there shouldn't be this much stress in our families to give our kids what they basically need, which is good childcare.
Yeah, no, my younger daughter, her daughter is 1 and is still waiting on childcare because I believe the wait list was 2 years when she was newly pregnant. That's how these things work. And yet these are solvable problems, providing this kind of assistance so that childcare workers aren't working for poverty wages, so that childcare center operators stay in business. This is all doable, especially with a $7 billion state surplus. And so we heard over the weekend from Corinne Hendrickson from New Glarus. She's a child care provider who testified before Congress. We had her on the program back in March, and she says absolutely there's going to be a lot of work to contact legislators and tell them that when the state budget gets to the full floor of the Assembly and the Senate, that child care counts needs to be put back in. And Kate, I can imagine that a lot of the Motherhood for Good folks are going to be thinking the same way of giving that message to their legislators.
Yeah, I mean, people are very fired up about this. And I think that this is something that affects everybody. Like, it's not just a small subset of people, it's all families in Wisconsin. So we're trying to figure out, how to best mobilize our community to continue to make calls, but then also maybe take that up a notch and make reels or posts and tag your state legislatures or members from the Joint Finance Committee and really get loud and tell these people that this is something that they need to move forward with. And it almost stung a little bit more because I know obviously Governor Evers put forth this proposal in February. And then when it got through the review process started with the Joint Finance Committee, I know they gutted a lot of things right away. And this they didn't touch it right away. And it sat for a while. And then I don't know what was going on behind the scenes that they kept pushing it back on Friday night. But it almost felt like they were hearing people and maybe we're going to make save it. And so for them to ultimately cut it doesn't feel good. But there's still some time before this budget is finalized. So we're going to figure out how we can best mobilize our communities to make some noise because, we're mad.
Yeah. And Corinne Hendrickson actually has already put up a note on Facebook to organize a rally for tomorrow at the state capitol, 10 o'clock in the morning. So for those folks who can go, working parents and childcare providers are already, stretched thin enough. But for those people who can go to the state capitol at 10 a.m. tomorrow, she writes, we will rally to demand that Republicans commit to an amendment to the budget to include $340 million to continue child care counts. They need to know the impact will be widespread. Parents, business owners, community members, this can and does impact you. Otherwise, our economy stands to lose all sorts of money as people, can't work anymore in this. Emily, I'll give you the closing thought on this segment as far as what else we can possibly say to our neighbors or anybody to express how important it is that this program be saved.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people feel nervous about talking to people about politics, and that's what we do at Motherhood for Good is try to make them feel better. And I can't think of an easier gateway topic than this one. It warmed my heart. Our directors for our daycare actually sent a message out to all of the parents through our portal. They included a link through actionnetwork.org where it will actually send letters on your behalf. And so this is a really easy thing to post about, like Kate said, tag folks, but really I think the one-on-one connections, this is a great daycare pickup topic. This is something to text your mom and dad friends about. But like Pat said, it affects everyone. So let's just talk about this all week and call your reps, but also every single person on that Joint Finance Committee, particularly the Republicans. They need to hear from us, and they're the ones that can really make a difference here. So let's get loud.
Very much so. And we will talk to State Representative Jody Emerson at 7:30 tomorrow morning also about this topic. And you can call the legislative hotline at 800-362-9472.